So in this video, we're going to talk about how to create a graph using Microsoft Excel. So what you see out here is a, a series of data points. You have an independent variable on the left, and then you have repetitions, or basically you have data points for each of these points that that correspond to each of these points. So that's repetition one, and then you have trial two, which is repetition two, and then trial three, that's repetition three. So the first thing we want to do is let's create the average response because we're going to plot the independent variable with the average response. So the average response is going to be equals, we type the formula equals, and then we just write the word average. And then we open a parentheses and we select the numbers and hit enter, and there you have it. Then after we calculate the average, we go to the corner out here, and then we just drag that down, and that basically fills the formula in from the top right to the bottom. Notice carefully, when we went out here, notice carefully how the plus sign, how it changed to a different plus, a very skinny plus. That's the plus sign you're looking for, okay? And then it's time to drag, to select, to click and drag. So to calculate standard deviation, we just type equals to std, and then you want to select the second one that displays. So that's standard deviation dot s. And then all we're going to do is we're going to drag, click and drag over the first three rows of data, and then close parentheses. And that's the standard deviation for these three data points. Then we're just going to take our mouse. We're going to shift it to the bottom right corner till the cursor changes from a plus to a skinny plus, and then we're going to just drag down. And that is the standard deviation for every single one of those points. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to graph the independent variable versus the average response, which is the dependent variable. So to do that, we're going to select these values. We're going to hit Control, and then we're going to select these values. And then we're going to go to Insert. I'm going to click on Charts, Scatter. Let's put the chart out here. Now the next thing is to select label the axes. Okay, so sorry, if we go to Add Chart Element, and we go to Axes Title, go to Primary Horizontal, that is the average response. So let's call that the dependent variable. So I'm just going to type directly into this, and if you look at the top, you'll see it actually, I hit enter and there it pops up. But basically what I was pointing you to is look out up here, you will see the dependent variable types out there, okay? And then if I go to Add Chart Element and I click on Primary Vertical, now I can write my independent. Actually, I switched them. This should be the dependent variable, and those are the units, whatever units they are in. And this should be my independent variable. So I can just do in dependent variable. All right. So just for reference, the independent variable is always the x values, okay? And the dependent variable is the y values. All right. So now that we have that, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to change the layout of this graph. So we're going to go to Quick Layouts, and let's choose the first layout under Quick Layouts. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to try to connect all these points with a linear trend line. So once I select the data, I click on the little plus sign out here, and then I just check the trend line. And notice carefully when I check that, it basically created the best fit straight line that connects those points. And then what I would also want to do is I would try to populate the equation for that trend line. So if I go under these options, I click on this little sign out here, the symbol out here, and I click on display equation on chart, and I'm also going to click on display R-square value. And I can move this to this area so it's out of the graph and the graph doesn't look messy. The next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and add error bars. So to add error bars, again, I select the data points, select one of them, and it selects all of them. And then I go to chart, add chart element, and I click on error bars, and I click on standard more error bar options. Then I click on more error bar options, and I click on this little symbol out here again on the right. And I'm going to choose. You see what happened is it actually selected all, it changed the whole graph and made the graph look messy. But don't worry about that because I'm going to select the error bars. I'm going to select the error bars out here, which are the horizontal error bars. I'm going to hit delete, and then it populates my graph to the original thing. But now I have error bars that go up and down like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change those error bars. Okay. So again, I'm going to go to format. I'm going to right click, go to format error bars, and then I'm going to go to custom, and I'm going to specify the value. And out here in the positive value, I'm going to select all my standard deviation points. And in the negative value, I'm going to hit OK. And in the negative value, I should be able to select all the standard deviation points again, the same standard deviation points. And I'm going to hit OK. Now, once I'm done with that, these are the correct error bars that you see for all the points. Okay. So once I'm done with my error bars, the next thing I want to do is basically want to format the data in my chart. Okay. So I'm going to just go ahead out here. It has a double series, so I'm just going to delete that. I'm going to, again, select the data points. And I'm going to right click and I'm going to click select data. And then now I'm going to change the name of the series. So I'm going to take my series name and I'm going to do this. I'm going to click on series out here. I'm going to click edit. And then I'm going to type in the series name, which is average response, because that's what I'm plotting, average response. And I hit OK. And there you see average response popped up. And that's it. That's all you need to know in order to plot a graph on Excel. I hope that made sense. Thank you for watching.